Yo, what is up guys? Ethan here back with another video, and today we return with college football. As today, we're going to be recapping week 4. If you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. And the word I would describe week 4 is absolutely craziness. And there were so many crazy games. There wasn't any crazy upsets, besides a few, but, well, not compared to the past few weeks, let's just say that. But man, oh man, there were so many wild endings to so many games this week. It was absolutely crazy. And I'm going to start off with the first game I saw today, or yesterday, which was number 5 Clemson going down to number 21 Wake Forest. And it went to double overtimes. Clemson won 51-45. And I was not even expecting this game to be this high scoring. When I did my predictions, I thought Clemson would win. But it would be that Clemson's defense would slow down Wake Forest's offense, but at the same time, Clemson's offense would shoot themselves in the foot a few times and not be able to score as much on this bad Wake Forest defense. But it's the complete opposite. Wake Forest was able to score on this Clemson defense, and then Clemson was able to bounce back and answer back. And even though I've been very vocal that I'm not the biggest believer on Sam Hartman, he truly impressed me today. He tied like the ACC record for the most passing yards in the game with 6. He was 20 for 29, 337 yards. Absolutely phenomenal. And then on the other side, this Clemson offense really surprised me as well. DJ was slinging the ball today, 371 yards and 5 passing touchdowns. Will Shipley also had 100 on the ground as well. And overall with this Clemson offense, it truly impressed me today. And they're definitely going to be like a 10-point favorite, in my opinion, when they play NC State next week. The next game I do want to talk about is, as you see Troy Franklin on the screen, Oregon versus Washington State. As an Oregon fan, I did not have a good feeling about this game. I was 50-50 as you saw my predictions. If you actually watch my preseason predictions on Oregon, I had them going 10-2, and Washington State was a loss I had on upset alert. Scoring like 21 points in the fourth quarter in like a 2.5 minute span is what won this game for Oregon. And Cam Ward did have 2 interceptions, but man oh man, he played phenomenally. This defense for Washington State played really good as well. And in the first half, the main thing was getting that red zone stops. We, like, each and every single drive for Oregon in the first half, they went down into the red zone. But Washington State always just allowed a field goal. Really good defense. This is a game, in my opinion, both teams deserve to win. And Washington State, in my opinion, is a top 25 team, even though they did lose this game. Troy Franklin had a huge touchdown late in the fourth quarter, which propelled the lead for Oregon. Bo Nix apparently had a surprising career-high game in passing yards with 428. It did not feel like it, but he did. And overall, Oregon, they got their mojo back. And I will say this, if Mario Cristobal was the head coach for Oregon, we would have lost this game. But that's just a new scheme with Dan Lanning. But I'm really confident in this Oregon staff, and that I didn't say it here, but other platforms I've been saying. Mario Cristobal leaving for Miami might have been a blessing in disguise for this Oregon team. Now, talking about Mario Cristobal, what's going on down in Miami? They just lost to Middle Tennessee at home, and this is the main thing about Miami that I'm realizing to start off this season, that they really can't take control of these games. This game, Middle Tennessee had the control all throughout this game. In the Texas A&M game, they had control, but they kept on shooting themselves in the foot that they couldn't control and maintain a lead, which is why Texas A&M won last week. And then they struggled to control a lead versus Southern Miss a few weeks ago. They did win that game, but this Miami team is struggling to maintain a lead, and this offense seems non-existent under Josh Gaddis. Tyler Van Dyke was benched in the third quarter for Jake Garcia. Jake Garcia was okay. He didn't have a touchdown or anything, but Tyler Van Dyke was not good at all today, and that really surprised me considering I was a big fan of him when we entered the season. But Middle Tennessee, Chase Cunningham, they just kept on throwing it deep, and they just killed this secondary for Miami. And I don't know what's going on with Miami. They have the talent, but it's just coaching staff. And if you look at the staff for Miami, it's like, dang, they have so many good coaches on the staff. It's kind of like how the Lakers were in the early 2000s, where they have formed a super team, yet they didn't win anything when they had like Kobe, Pau Gasol, Steve Nash, Dwight Howard, etc. This is kind of what it reminds me of with this Miami staff. They have so many great coaches, yet they really don't fit together, and this is why they're not winning big-time games. Well, this is not even a big-time game. This is regarded as probably their easiest game on the schedule outside of like Bethune-Cookman or something like that. But Miami, they need to pick it up, and man, I'm just very disappointed in this Miami team. A game that was somehow close towards the end, yet really thrilling, was Florida at Tennessee. I had Tennessee winning this game with relatively ease, but Florida made it a game in the fourth quarter. They had their first passing touchdowns of the season. AR-15 was slinging the ball today, looked really impressive, in my opinion at least. But Tennessee was overall better. Hendon Hooker, what a phenomenal game. 350 in the air, 110 on the ground. Phenomenal game from Hendon Hooker. And he's definitely going to be the Heisman case. And this was all without their top wide receiver in Cedric Tillman, as on game day he was announced he wasn't going to be healthy. But Florida made it a game. They scored with 17 seconds left and then got an onside kick. They almost got a touchdown, but it was incomplete. And Tennessee ended up winning this game. And Tennessee, they're going to be a top 10 team next week. And they have a big-time game versus LSU after their bye week. Next game, Arkansas versus Texas A&M, and this game was absolutely wild. So much craziness happened in this game. That's why it's the word of the week. But like, Texas A&M won this game 23-21. This is one of those games where both teams deserve to win, but Texas A&M did a little bit more on the defensive side of the ball, and that's why they won this game. That lateral with Amani Richardson was absolutely insane. Could be a play of the year candidate, in my opinion at least. Devin Achane went off this game. He basically had 160 on the ground. And that was the main reason why A&M won this game. Their defense and Devin Achane. Arkansas did a really good job as well. KJ Jefferson went off. 100 in the air, 100 on the ground, just like Hendon Hooker. But Arkansas has a true test next week as well as they host Alabama. Big time game. That's the CBS game of the week. But Texas A&M has bounced back after that App State loss, and it's going to be really intriguing how they do throughout the season. They have a tough test on the road next week at Mississippi State, but good win for A&M here. This Kansas offense, what can I say? I went off about it last week, and I'm going to go off about it again. Jalen Daniels is the real deal. Daniels had like 5 touchdowns total. He was slinging the ball in the air. He was doing it on the ground as well. And even though Duke's defense is really good, they just couldn't control and maintain Jalen Daniels. And that's why Duke ended up losing this game. Riley Leonard was really good in the air today as well. But Jalen Daniels is just the best player on both teams. And this Kansas State team, well, not Kansas State. We will get to Kansas State in a little bit. But Kansas, this team deserves to be ranked. Great win from the Jayhawks. USC at Oregon State was a phenomenal game this past week. USC barely survived 17-14. Both of these defenses showed out in this game. A lot of people anticipated this would be a super high scoring game where it would be like a 40-40 game. That's what I thought at least. But man, oh man, these defenses looked phenomenal, but because of these quarterbacks. Chase Nolan absolutely sucked this game. 4 interceptions? Are you kidding me? That's what killed Oregon State in this game. But Caleb Williams, he really didn't look that impressive as well. He did look impressive at a few points in this game, especially on the ground. But overall, throwing the ball, Oregon State's secondary was really good in this game, and they maintained this wide receiver core that the Trojans have. So USC definitely is defeatable, and I'll definitely favor Utah in that USC-Utah game, but USC definitely looked impressive on the defensive side of the ball. And Kansas State, we're going to get to this game now. They went into Norman and beat them again. And it wasn't the Riley era. It just seems like overall Kansas State just owns this Oklahoma team. Dylan Gabriel did great in the air. Eric Gray did great on the ground. But they just couldn't maintain Adrian Martinez on the defensive side. He had 234 in the air. But on the ground is where he was killing it. 148 rushing yards. 4 rushing touchdowns. That's insane for a quarterback. And had 5 total touchdowns on the day. Adrian Martinez single-handedly led Kansas State to this victory versus Oklahoma. phenomenal win for the Wildcats. And I thought Oklahoma could be a top 5 team. Not anymore. App State, they just blew a 28-3 lead versus James Madison. James Madison looks great right now because you just absolutely throttled Middle Tennessee, in which Middle Tennessee just beat Miami. And then you just go on the road to App State and come back from a 28-3 lead and end up winning this game 32-28. Phenomenal game from the Dukes. The Dukes are on the rise. Notre Dame went into Chapel Hill and defeated the Tar Heels. Great performance, and this just shows me UNC has a great offense, but their defense is horrendous, and that's why I compared them to Wake Forest. They have great offenses, but the defenses are absolutely abysmal and can't win them games. Michigan defeated Maryland at home 34-27, and the main reason why they won this game, Blake Corum. Man went off this game. 243 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. Absolutely phenomenal. And I thought Blake Corum was a little overrated heading into the year. I was obviously wrong. Corum has played phenomenally in the past few games. J.J. McCarthy kind of struggled at certain points in the game, but overall he was good in this game. Maryland did keep it close. I was kind of surprised about that. But Michigan does have a true test next week at Iowa. Texas Tech. I thought this game was going to be close. I was not anticipating a Texas Tech upset in overtime, though. Phenomenal game for Texas Tech. Bijan Robinson with that fumble in overtime is what sold this game, but great game for the Red Raiders. 2 weeks after defeating Notre Dame on the road, Marshall loses back-to-back games at Bowling Green and at Troy. I had a feeling Troy was going to keep this game close, but Marshall's offense was non-existent. This Troy defense came to play at home. Phenomenal win for this Troy team after a just heartbreaking loss last week versus App State on that Hail Mary pass, of course. A few games to end the video I do want to point out. Purdue beats FIU at home only 28-26. Willie Taggart got that team really impressed. Ohio State just throttles Wisconsin 52-21. I expected that game at least to be that high. Well, not much of a blowout, but yeah. Navy defeats East Carolina in 2 overtimes 23-20. That's a big time win for Navy, and that's not the best win for East Carolina as well. Jaden Ott went absolutely ballistic for Cal this week as they did defeat Arizona. Ole Miss almost lost to Tulsa 35-28. If you did see my predictions, I told y'all to take the over, and they keep out with a possible upset. I didn't think that was going to happen, especially since Tulsa's quarterback did get hurt in the midpoint of this game. And Ole Miss, they have a big-time game next week. This is not the best way to look heading into that Kentucky game. Cincinnati throttled Indiana. Minnesota throttled Michigan State. And Baylor survives on the road at Ames, defeating Iowa State. And that is it for this week. Week 4, craziness is all I can say. Week 5, we have some big-time games like Kentucky, Ole Miss, Alabama at Arkansas. Michigan at Iowa could be thrilling as well. And then, in my opinion, the biggest game this week, NC State at Clemson. And yeah, that is it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed. I am a little stuffed up, so sorry about that. But yeah, like always, like, share, subscribe, push notifications on so you don't miss any of my videos. Share this video so we can grow this Elk NCAA community. And like always, have a good day. Peace out.